Good afternoon. I am Pete, also known as Risk for Rewards, or over on Twitter known as @Risk for Rewards. If you're not following, you can go over there, click the link, and you can obviously subscribe to all my Twitter content. That's where you get a lot of my written content. And I've also got the blog, obviously Risk for Rewards blog, which is hopefully going to develop into a website at some point, so it makes it more easier and user friendly for everyone. Um, I obviously just haven't done that yet. But yeah, if you're not following, you can. Obviously, we're having a few Twitter issues with the rules, or if you haven't been on Twitter recently, they brought out something yesterday which is restricting the amount of tweets that people can view. How long it will last for, I don't know. They say it's just for a maintenance purpose, but I have set up an Instagram and I do have TikTok. I just haven't really used it. So if you aren't following, there's a Risk for Rewards Instagram that you can click through, and obviously I will put my selection on there. But at the moment, it's obviously very new to me. I haven't thought about using that as a platform, so I've clearly set it up literally. Well, it had its first post today, put it this way. So yeah, we've got that over there. Obviously here on YouTube, appreciate the support. Any likes, much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, click the link. And especially with the Twitter issues, just means that if you log onto YouTube on your phone, it'll come up with my most recent video. Because especially if you can't see it on Twitter, you're not going to see the links. It's more for a price sort of thing. I know it's very different today because this is a very late video, but generally my videos will normally go out on Thursday or Friday for the Saturday's racing. So anyway, enough about me. We are on to Sunday at the Curragh. Quick recap of yesterday. Obviously, I did put up Via Sestina as the nap yesterday at 2-1. She did it very well. I thought she was a Group 1 horse. We were lucky at Newmarket, everyone in the Discord group. We got her at 8-1. She went off 9-4 and she bolted up at Newmarket. She just looks the next level mare this year. She's going to be tough to beat all season. It would not surprise me if she does the lot. It's going to take the likes of something like a Tahira at the moment to slow her down her path. And they've said she's versatile as well, anywhere from a mile up to a mile 4. They're more than willing to try the arc trip. She's not entered in the arc, she's not even in the betting. And obviously on the weekend, I think it was 9 furlongs she won at rather than the 10. It's up in the air of where she's going. That she's pretty. They've said basically that they didn't want to. They wanted to run her on soft only, but they don't have that option obviously this time of year. So they're happy to run her in good. They just don't want to run her with any firm. So the problem is with backing her anti-posters. If you back her anywhere and it's firm ground, depending on the clerk of the course, if they don't water, then you're doing your money. So, but she's obviously a horse with immense potential, and despite hanging, she still did it very well, beating Group 1 winners in the likes of Above the Curve, who was given a stink draw. So perhaps that's slightly. I wouldn't write on Above the Curve off for that run. I'd just throw it in the bin. And then onto Al Riffa. I mean, I backed it in the end. It was a poor decision in hindsight, but it was always going to be that way. If you take the winner out, he's won by about 50 lengths. It was just a very smart ride from Ben Cohen from the front. He knew the horse was going to be wanting for stamina, and it was always going to be tough. As soon as he built that lead, he got a quick snap out the lead, and then even it was still quite tight to him. He tried to keep close, but every chance he could, he just extended it. And the horse in front did it well. If they met again next time out, I'd expect Al Riffa probably to turn the tables on Mashraw. But at the end of the day, it was a smart ride, and I think Al Riffa will have some good or big performances to come this year, and it'll obviously be underrated next time out. If going into deeper waters, you could be getting a like 20-1 shot because obviously he's come second there. Anything else to recap? Newmarket was okay. I took on the favourites for a lot of the races, first 3 races, just because they were too short. I was right with the second and third race taken on the front end of the market. Just picked the wrong horses. Just one of those things. They happen. So right onto the Curragh. I'm going to go through the whole, not the whole card, all but the last race. I think I'm going for big prices in some and some not so much. It's one of those where you want to keep your money in your pocket for parts of the day. Right, 150 Curragh Railway Stakes. Aidan O'Brien's got a great record in the race, but then again, find a race which Aidan O'Brien doesn't have a great record in. However, even with his great record, he hasn't won in the last 4 renewals. He won 5 years ago, and before that, he'd won. So he's won twice in the last 10 years. So he may have a great record on it, but it's not substantial in the last 10 years. He obviously makes up the front of the market with Unquestionable and His Majesty. I think everyone, or 9 out of 10 people, were expecting His Majesty to be around the 7-4, 2-1 shot when the prices opened with Ryan Moore aboard. Ryan Moore was not aboard, and then everyone just was left scratching his head. Obviously, of those at the front end that ran at Royal Ascot, His Majesty looked like the step up and trip to this 6 furlong trip was going to suit. Stayed on very well behind Valiant Force and put in a great, not a great performance, but obviously a very solid performance there. But it's left many scratching their heads to why is Ryan Moore switched. Me included, to be honest. Like I would have thought that would be the thing. Unquestionable, I put up as a commentary horse. Like it was like 20-1, or it might have been 33-1. I don't know why I didn't go there. Maybe they were saving for this. But I'm not saying like obviously it's one of those, you back it for the Coventry because it was a big price and you thought it would be one of those type of horses. And then it comes here, and that's now the 2-1, 7-4 favourite because Ryan Moore's aboard it. And I don't really want to take that because the Royal Ascot form's better, but obviously Unquestionable comes here fresh. It's a very tough market to play in because Unquestionable, is, in my opinion, is too short against these rivals. Bucanero Forte has got the best form at 6 furlongs with the 1 length defeat from River Tiber at Royal Ascot. His Majesty, as I just said, had very good strong form at 5 furlongs from the Norfolk, stepping up here. Devious was very well thought of, and apparently nothing could get it off the bridle at home, but was not well beaten, but was quite a way behind Bucanero Forte at Royal Ascot. And the question is for all three of those. You've got an 11-4 shot, a 7-2 shot, and a 10-1 shot. And in reality, the difference between Bucanero Forte, His Majesty, and there was three lengths difference between His Majesty and Devious. One's a 10-1 plus, the other 7-2. At the end of the day, before I waffle, the bottom line is those three in the market, so second, third, fourth favourite, how are they going to recover in a week? Some may improve, some might not recover, some might run no race. Devious obviously is of massive interest because didn't really run a race at Ascot, but was still hard enough ridden to be beaten only 5 lengths. So for me, I'd prefer to go further down the thing. And you come to I Am Invictus, who's a 16-1 shot, finished 3 3/4 lengths behind River Tiber on debut over 5 furlongs, and then a neck behind Pearls and Rubies when sent off 6-5 favourite to beat Pearls and Rubies. Obviously, she was on debut. But pulled away, hit the front there, and then just got collared late home. Obviously, Pearls and Rubies came second in the Albany, so that form was boosted at Royal Ascot. Just thought it was a bigger price than the others. Mythology was a really solid run for Joseph O'Brien. He does not wind them up on debut. And I thought that was quite a striking run. Finished ahead of the 8-15 favourite Alabama when finishing third. Alabama obviously ran a great run at Royal Ascot. This is the problem with 2-year-olds. You've got no idea where they're at in their careers until later in the season. So, and then the other one that I did think was very interesting. I haven't had a bet in this, but I might just have like a couple of quid each way or something on Democracy. So Democracy is 33-1 here, and is the outsider of the Aidan O'Brien crew. Won in April, 6 furlongs, beating Jayla B. Not a brilliant race, heavy ground, one on the bridle, very easy, 89 RPR. So what was interesting is the fact that Ryan Moore decided to choose Democracy over His Majesty next time out when they all stepped into the Marble Hill Stakes, the Group 3. So Democracy was sent off 5-2, second favourite behind Noche Magica. Democracy ran no race, but in running no race, like you looked at the way the horse travelled the first time out compared to the second time out, didn't travel at all. And Ryan Moore said in his blog, he said the horse ran no race, but still only beaten 6.5 lengths. But you look at the horse that finished in front of that horse in fifth was Valiant Force, who obviously won the Norfolk at 150-1. Bayern, I don't know a lot about. His Majesty, who obviously I've just spoke about, another Royal Ascot placed. Noche Magica, who ran no race at Royal Ascot, and then Give Me the Beat Boys, who came fourth in the Coventry. So, one, only beaten 6 lengths when running no race, and 2, all of those horses in front are fair yardsticks. I know obviously you meet His Majesty again, but the difference is Democracy didn't run there, whereas His Majesty did. I just think 33-1, that looks overpriced to me. So I think that's a fair shout. I was keen on Mythology, but I'm just a bit worried about the rest having had 2 starts, that this may still come a bit too soon. So I think not a race I'm going to get heavily involved in, and obviously I'm not going to go through stakes, but it'd just be really small bets on I Am Invictus and Democracy each way at 16s and 33s, just with the question marks over the front. The front, in reality, if you're looking at the front, then the front 3 should fill the front 3, so Unquestionable, Bucanero Forte and His Majesty should fill the front 3, leaving no space for places. But I just think there's room. You don't know how the race is going to run, who's going to go out in front, or anything like that. What if Democracy goes out in front, steals a lead, it's just so. I just think it's worth chancing. It's really small bets. 225. I'm not going to take any time on this whatsoever. Comanche Falls. Anyone who follows me for a while will know how much I love Azure Blue and how much I love Creative Force. And the form behind in both those 2 runs. The Creative Force run wasn't great in my opinion, but it was a big step up when finishing third behind Azure Blue, because that was behind Azure Blue and Hidden Princess, only beating a length and a quarter behind Hidden Princess, Highfield Princess, who's obviously, they're both Group 1 horses. So that's very, very solid form, and obviously giving weight to Azure Blue. So the one to beat by far. Even money. If I was there at the car of the day, I probably would have a small bet at even money. But do I want to take even money or odds on in a sprint race? No, I don't. Simply because like there's how many runners? 11 runners, so you could stay out of trouble, you could get the run of the race, you could get everything perfect, but all it takes in a sprint is the slightest thing to go wrong, or the pace not to be on your side, people drawn on the wrong side, etc, etc, and then suddenly it goes out the window. Comes here in cheap pieces again, which was the same for, well, has been in cheap pieces for a long time, so that's of no concern. So I don't have any negatives apart from the price. And you look at the RPRs that Comanche Falls is achieving compared to the others. I mean, gives £5 to the second favourite Muniesta, who's a solid yardstick. But you look at his RPRs, he's hitting like 94s, and Comanche Falls hitting like 116 and 1112. Like he's completely standout. Like the rival that might be closer might be Waddell, who's hitting 108s and gets weight from that favourite, so it could be there or thereabouts. It's just a race I don't really want to play in. On to 3 o'clock. So this is the nap of the day for me. Unfortunately, the 7-1 has gone, and you're now looking at. I did bring up the betting on purpose just so that I can. Don't want to give you a load of rubbish. You're now looking at 9-2 best price. I mean, if you can get six. I took six places each way, 7-1 last night, but 6 places each way. Even if you get 9-2, 4-1, it's a very small amount that you lose if the horse is placed, and that is John Riggins. I first come to this race, I was looking for a big priced horse in order to place, and I started with Laugh a Minute. And Laugh a Minute I thought had great claims, and I'm not saying put you off. And then I ended up going across to Towazan, that was 28-1, and then Towazan brought me to Big Gozzy, and then on to John Riggins. So John Riggins, quite simply, the biggest thing that stand out straight away is Edward Lynham. Like he is brilliant at training sprinters. There's no hidden secret about that. But the bottom line is the horse has come back this year, had 4 starts. So I won't go through all the starts. Took a while to get going, but 2 starts ago, ran at Navan, 5 furlong soft ground. Literally did everything it could to not get up, but managed to get up just on the line, beating Towazan. So beat on the line, that was under Ben Cohen. Beat Towazan by a head. So Towazan then went on next time out to win a 15 runner handicap sprint. And then in third place that day, a length of 3/4, was Screen Siren, who then went on to win next time out as well. So second and third have both won since. The thing was, the next run was obviously against John Riggins again, stepped up to 6 furlongs. So Towazan actually reversed the form with John Riggins. The thing is here, just looking at this in quite simple terms, is obviously you look at it, you think fourth, oh well he's fourth behind Laugh a Minute and Towazan, how's he going to reverse that form? But it's quite simple to, let me just move this to one side so I can see the weights. It's quite simple to look at it. Like Towazan on the day was carrying 8.13 to John Riggins' 9 stone. So John Riggins is carrying 8.13, so he's £1 lower. Towazan is now carrying £6 more, and also they've swapped the claimer from a £7 to a £5. So that means that combination you've got. Oh no, they haven't even got a claimer on, so they've got Billy Lee on. So it's about, I think it's works out around a £13 swing that John Riggins has got with Towazan. And Laugh a Minute was racing off 8.13 and now races off 9.6. And Laugh a Minute had a £7 claimer and now only has a £5 claimer. So that's £2 extra in weight there, plus £7. So that's a £9 swing. So just on weights, purely weights, weighted to reverse that form. But regardless, even if they all ran off the exact same race, I'd still fancy John Riggins to go very close to reversing that form. Colin Keane went around the outside. I'm not sure he's drawn on the right side anyway. Horse was travelling very, very strongly. Came up to the rivals alongside and kicked for home and was a race-winning manoeuvre. But the only issue was it was too soon. And he kicked for home and he put daylight between himself and the field and went probably 2 lengths clear. And then he was still continuing to pour it on, but just got tired in the final furlong. And then 3 horses that were coming up the centre to left, well, I think it would be the stand side, went past him in the finish. So the bonuses there is 2 things. 1 is obviously they're clearly going to hold the run for longer, I'd hope. And 2, back to 5 furlongs. That was over 6 furlongs. So back to 5 furlongs, but on the better ground. I just think there's plenty in his favour today for him to go close. Drawn 16. The numbers aren't like spectacular. I think it's 6 out of 10 past winners were drawn. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 out of 10 were drawn high numbers. 3 of the last 5. So it's 6 and 2 threes. But again, it's just there's pace everywhere, so I don't think that'll be an issue. I would not be surprised if they split into 3, straight up the middle, and then on both sides. So he might not end up on the correct side of the track. You can only hope that side of things. And that's the problem with sprinters, is you don't want to go diving in big amounts of money, because there's so much that can happen, just like I mentioned with Comanche Falls, and then it's gone out the window. But I think he's a knock in each way bet, 6 places. John Riggins and Ben Cohen reunites as well. Ben Cohen wasn't on last time, back on, and obviously he was the last one who won on him under a brilliant ride. So on to the big one of the day, and that is of course the Irish Derby. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know of August Rodin. I'm currently trying to look to see what targets he could go to after this. I fully expect him to win. I know he's 1-3. You can say, oh, nice one, but I haven't got anything like. If you ask anyone, I haven't seen anyone strongly against him. Obviously, he's backing up after bottoming out in the Guineas, then a monster performance in the Derby. A few trying to say, oh, what about this issue? But they've put extra pacemakers in here, and it would not surprise me. Like they've gone with Pekin Opera and Covent Garden as well, so they've got 4 other O'Brien horses. So he's not only going to get protection, he should get a guaranteed pace in the race. He's in draw, he's still 1, which probably isn't ideal for obviously where you want to be, but he's got the best jockey in the world. And the difference is as well at the moment this season, sometimes you say the best jockey in the world, but they're not always riding at the best at the time. But Ryan Moore is just a man on fire. He has been all season from the off. He's just not missed a beat. So I've got nothing that I can tell you about the favourite that win. White Birch is a horse I don't really like, because I just think he does so much wrong in the early stages of the race. Everyone's saying he covered something like 6 seconds faster. White Birch covered the final 3 furlongs, I think, than Sproul in the Epsom Derby. But that's because he literally dawdled the first half of the race. Like he just doesn't do anything in the first half of the race. He's always last. So if this race gets tactical, it doesn't matter if he's last and they've got tactical and they've gone a really slow gallop and he's made no ground and he's stuck at the back and he's got horses all around him. If they suddenly sprint the finish, he's not going to be able to make up that ground. But at the same time, they're not likely to do that, as I've mentioned with the pacemakers. So White Birch, obviously, he's clearly a horse that could place. And he finished in front of Sproul, so will he do it again? Possibly. Sproul clearly didn't handle the track in the slightest at Epsom. So it's very hard to weigh up how much further or behind White Birch. But White Birch only beat up and under half a length. Sproul beat him 3 lengths. So I think there's very little. I mean, you can get 2-1 in them without market for Sproul, whereas White Birch is like even money. So if I had to have a bet on those two, then they'd be that. For me, really, you probably just want to look at maybe a few fun forecasts, like maybe one of those, and then like something like San Antonio. Obviously, San Antonio was a pacemaker on the day, but was only sent off 18-1. Went from the front, but it was clear so early out. Both him and Adelaide River, neither of them handled the track. So they went round the bend, did their job perfectly, but I'm not sure if they were there just to set the pace, that if they were good enough, they were going to go on from there. But San Antonio had won 2 races going into that and was sent off only 18-1. So it had its chance in its own and has got some of the higher RPRs. Like it's got a 109 RPR to his name. That's only £4 behind both Sproul and White Birch. So there could be more to come. But the one I do like, just purely on prices, again, is like you've got Adelaide River, which again I thought ran a solid race. Isn't one for winning many races, but like second behind Arrest, third behind Dubai Mile, Crypto Force. Was well beaten in the Derby, and maybe this is way beyond him. And obviously, if he does get made as a pacemaker again, this will be. But in reality, Pekin Opera and Covent Garden have been put in here. I'd imagine those two are going to be made as the pacemakers, 125-1 and 100-1. So, I mean, I might just do like a little forecast, TriCast with like, say, I don't know, August Rodin, and then either White Birch or Sproul, and then San Antonio or Adelaide River, if that makes sense. So basically August Rodin, then one of White Birch or Sproul, and then one of San Antonio and Adelaide River, maybe play a few of those. I mean, I don't know how big their price they'd be to whether they'd even be worth it. But Adelaide River's a 66-1 shot. So if that gets in the places, then that's fair game. But again, you never know how tactical it's going to be. What if they ended up bouncing out? Covent Garden and Pekin Opera go out front. Adelaide River and San Antonio sit in behind prominent. And they dawdle the race. August Rodin suddenly got caught in a pocket. And then obviously it ends up like an Aidan O'Brien front few, but it's not the ones you expect. And obviously, all remembering Ryan Moore's still yet to win an Irish Derby, but I do think he'll win the race. I don't have any negatives on White Birch or Sproul. Just I don't like backing White Birch because of the way he runs. But obviously, coming into a play, I don't see him winning. Put it that way. He looks a ledger horse, but yeah. Nothing on the 4:15. On the 4:50, I'm waiting for the markets to settle still and hoping Joanne there drifts. Anyone who followed at Royal Ascot is. They would have known that I'd back Joanne there and Adelaide's both at 8-1, or 8-1 and 7-1. Both of them just had so many issues. It was almost like you were doing it that was a handicap for a bigger pot, because you couldn't have found many more issues, like clipping heels in the early stages, ending up 4 wide, 5 wide, coming to the bend, somehow stuck in a pocket, then having to go all the way around their houses. And both of them, it was like when one was free and going around, he'd have having to go 5 wide, the other one sat in the inside waiting for a gap. And I mean, you can assess them differently, but they finished fourth and fifth. They took different routes, but neither of them got clear running at any point. And like if you spoke to connectors afterwards, they must have been so frustrated having teed that up so nicely. The big issue is that Aussie Girl was very strange standout with how much weight she is getting here. Like, so Aussie Girl was back to, I think she was over 5-1 last night. She's now into 5-2 favourite, or joint favourite. But she is back to 7 furlongs, which a better form is not at 7 furlongs. Only ran 3 times at 7 furlongs, beaten on all 3 occasions with 78 and 82 RPRs. But comes here with a £5 claimer, which puts her down to the equivalent of carrying 8-2 in weight. So in simple terms, that means that she is getting £12. She's getting £26 from Yoan there, and she's getting £21 from Adelaide, which means they would need monster performances. But it depends. If Aussie Girl runs to her 90, which she ran last time out in the 6 furlong event, if she runs to that, then she's going to be so difficult to beat, because that would put them at almost like group level horses, because they'd have to be running to like up in a 110 sort of marking. However, you look at it last time and she was raced like a sprinter. So if you put her down to like what her marks are for around the 7 furlong mark, she's at 82.78. So 82 and 78. So say it was, I don't know, say for averages, if we went 80 RPR, that would mean that they'd only have to run to around 100 RPR, like Yoan there and Adelaide. And Yoan there's already ran to 99, and Adelaide carries £5 less. So that would mean he'd have to run to 95, and he's ran to 92. So I still think both of those two have got massive chances. It's so hard to tell how much Royal Ascot's took out of the horse. So right now I'm just monitoring the market. If I back anything, it'll be both of those, because I thought about backing Adelaide each way, but the problem is because of Ascot exertions, they may run no race or they might bolt up. So it's better just have the win only and then nothing at all, and it'd be frustrating to back one and not the other. So it's easier. Say Adelaide is 5-1 and Yoan there's like 3-1, then as long as you can back them both in a way, dutching them, that you get a similar sort of stake profit, and they both cover each other's stake, then you're laughing really. But yeah, as much as I respect the favourite and I can see exactly why, and it's madness how much weight the horse is getting. But at the same time, if Yoan there and Adelaide were supposed to be Royal Ascot sort of handicap winners, they should have had at least £10 in the hand of their marks, and both of them coming off the exact same mark they run at Ascot. The only issue is that you're looking at concerns is how quick they can back up and if they'll run their race again. So finally, on to the last race I'll cover today, and that's 5:25, and that is with Tarawa. So Tarawa is 6-5, currently a standout. And for me, I think she's a tough one. I think people are knocking her because they've been burnt by her in the past, because she's been frustrating in the fact that she's a very strong travelling horse who looks like she's going to win, and then she finds a way to get beat or stuck in a pocket or finds issues. That's all very well, but I fortunately haven't been one of those people yet, so I've not come here with that sort of opinion. And I currently look, I'll just have a quick flick to the prices. I currently look, and she's 5-4. So there's a monster gamble going on the Aidan O'Brien horse, who was, I think, opened around 5 or 6-1, is now into 2-1. So obviously that money's always to be respected. But I do think that is forcing out the Tarawa price. And to put it in simple terms, so last year, I'll go with Salt Lake City first, because obviously that's a gamble, and that's what many people may have backed just because pure and simply Ryan Moore's on it. So Salt Lake City, just like most of Aidan O'Brien's horses, given a fairly busy campaign without pulling up trees, 93, 97 RPRs, which are good for obviously horses but not ecstatic. Raced in the Vertum Futurity, 9 lengths behind August Rodin, and then came back with a career best, 9 furlongs behind Moon de Vega. So Moon de Vega is a horse going places, no Group 1 horse, but is a horse going places. That was in the listed race. Was stuck in a pocket that day. Basically, Ryan Moore gave all his mounts really good rides that day. I think it was the day that he had the Albany horse. I can't remember what it's called. Not Content, the one that actually won the race. No idea how he won it. Anyway, he got stuck in a pocket and he couldn't get out, and he got beaten in the neck. It was a very strong run. But the thing that strikes me for this, like even before we look at Tarawa's form, so his best mark so far is 100 RPR. Well, Tarawa's ran to a 106 and 109 and is rated £5 higher on official ratings. But Tarawa gets £5 from Salt Lake City. So she's run off 8.9, he's run off 9. So if you put that £5 to context, if she runs to her mark last time, that means that Salt Lake City's got to run to a 114. Or if she runs to the run before, then he'd have to run to a 111, so 111. So that means that Salt Lake City, I'm not saying he can't improve it, of course he can under Aidan O'Brien, but he has got to improve at least 11 to 14 pounds to meet Tarawa, and that's without factoring in any improvement for her or the fact that she obviously gets out and actually shows you what she can do. So that's just my opinion from Salt Lake City to why I don't want to back him, especially not 2-1 over Tarawa. I'm not saying he can't win, but he has got to show an awful lot more. And now I think it's even more, the prices are even more in her favour. And then you go further down the line, and every horse in this race has to give her weight, at least £5. Some are giving her more. Yet she's got the highest RPRs in the race, so she's ran to the highest number of 109, and she's the highest officially rated horse. So she's rated 107. The closest is 105. That's Petraville, who's a 28-1 shot. And the rest are like 103, 103, 102. So in effect, she's about £5 ahead, and she's getting £5. So technically, she should be. If this isn't even a handicap, this is a listed race, but she's technically £10 well in, if running to that form. So the question mark comes, obviously, when you get a price, you're like, why is the price so nice? The question mark comes is, you look at the way Dermot were, like she was second to Zarinx on return, but the real standout run was when finishing fourth behind Tahira last time out in the Irish 1000 Guineas. She was travelling like an absolute dream on the inside rail, but literally just got stuck there for the whole race. And there's two ways of looking at that. She was only beaten 3 lengths by Tahira, and obviously probably about 2 lengths behind, well, 1.5 behind Meditate. So that's clearly very good high level form. But there's two ways you can look at it. You can see it depends which horse you want to take out of it. Because obviously you can say, 3 lengths Tahira. So if you put Tahira in this race, what price would she be? She's technically 3 lengths behind, but if she was clear, maybe she'd be 1.5 lengths. The other way of looking at it is you can rate her off Jackie O, who finished a length behind her and was also in a similar pocket, but she could only finish 20th at Royal Ascot last time out. So for me, I'm not taking it as that form. I'm taking it as Tarawa is a very good horse. Mainly because post-race, when everyone was going on and on asking Dermot Weld about how well Tahir had done it and all of this sort of thing, and he was very, very effusive, and he had plenty of praise and basically saying, don't forget about Tarawa. And I think that at home, he doesn't see a lot between these, as in clearly Tahir is the better horse of what we've seen, but he thinks that this horse has got plenty and plenty of potential. And if that is the case, then you come into this race, like, this isn't one where I'm saying, get a massive bet on it, because obviously she's got to prove it. But it's one of those where if she cannot win today, she is the all those people that have decided to jump ship because of the issues she's caused. She is a hype horse, because and that's on numbers, ratings, and everything else, because she has got everything in her favour. Unless Aidan O'Brien, this Salt Lake City, suddenly actually turns out to be a monster and obviously goes on and wins Group 1s later in the year, and it was just, you were never going to give £10 for that. But to give £10 for the second, to get £10 from the second favourite, when £5 from the second favourite when she's already £9 clear on RPRs, like, she's got everything in her favour. The only obviously concern is the fact that she could get blocked in again, just like last time. But she has got Chris Hayes back in the saddle. He does ride the Curra well. He was on Tahira when obviously the 2 times when Tahira, they were trying to block Tahira in. She will have a dartboard on her back. There will be plenty of horses looking to keep her in, but the field is getting smaller. Like, we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 9 runners. You should not be getting boxed in a 9-runner race. So, but we know Salt Lake City's not going to go out and make all. So someone's going to have to put some pace into the race, and she's going to be strongly travel, and it might be Lord Massousis that might end up putting the pace in, but she's going to be strong travelling, and if she gets the gap, then she's got 0 excuses in this field. If she can't beat these with the amount of weight that she's getting, then she's not going to be the horse that many people have been talking to her about. If she does, then you could see something pretty decent, and she could go on to much bigger and better things. and the fact he saved her for Royal Ascot is perfect. Totally respect the Aidan O'Brien horse, and if forecasts are your thing, then maybe a 1-2 forecast. But as I said, like, she shouldn't be. It's not like she should be getting, like, as in, say we've had 20 runs and everything's £10 in her favour. Yeah, you've got to get on this sort of thing. It's not like that. We don't know that she's up to these ratings. Just on what we've seen so far, this is what she should be able to do. Whether she can do it, we'll find out today. So, quick summary. 150, I'm going to go just a little bit outsider. So, Democracy at 33s and I Am Invictus, tiny, tiny, tiny each way bets. Won't be touching the 225. John Riggins each way. 340, August Rodin. I don't know how I'm going to play it. Maybe like a couple of small forecasts or tricasts or something. And when I say small, I mean like literally, like, I don't know. I don't want to say numbers because obviously people with different bets, but like 50p or something like that, or a pound or whatever suits your betting bank. I want to back Johan there and Adelaide's in the 450, but I'm not going to do it until I know that I can at least get, like, I'd like to get close to 11 to 4, 3 to 1 on Johan there, or at least a way where I can Dutch them both. And then 525 Tarawa. So my two bets that I've had right now, I've already backed Tarawa and John Riggins each way, 6 places at 7 to 1. The rest will just be very small, like little fun bets along the way, and then maybe the 2 in the handicap. So I don't know what's next. Coral Eclipse is next week. So apologies, video's late. Obviously, it's just life. Sometimes it gets in your way. So hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy the derby, and hopefully we'll see something good with August Rodin. Thank you and goodbye.